I felt safe leaving my things around my friends until one missing item exposed what had been happening for months. At the start, nothing about our group felt complicated. We were the kind of friends who didn't think twice about sharing space, time, or even personal stuff. Phones left on tables, bags tossed into corners, wallets, chargers, jackets, everything just existed around us without concern. There was an unspoken rule between us: trust. Not something we talked about, just something that was there. And because of that, I never paid attention to where I left my things. I didn't feel like I had to. If I put something down, it would be there later. Simple as that. Or at least, that's what I believed. The first time something went missing, it didn't feel important. It was small. A simple item I used almost every day. I looked for it casually at first, checked my bag, my room, the usual places, nothing. But instead of thinking too much about it, I brushed it off. Told myself I must have misplaced it, because that explanation was easier. Days passed, then weeks. Life moved on like nothing had happened, until it happened again. Another small thing, gone. Not something valuable, not something anyone else would care about, but something I knew I had, something I remembered using. This time I paid a little more attention, not enough to accuse anyone, just enough to notice. I started retracing my steps more carefully, thinking about where I had been, who I had been with, but nothing stood out. Everything felt normal, and that's what made it harder to question. Because when nothing looks wrong, you don't expect anything to be. Still, something didn't sit right. So I started being more aware, not obvious, just subtle. I kept track of where I left things, noted small details in my head, and slowly a pattern started forming. Things didn't go missing randomly. They disappeared after certain days, after certain hangouts, after being around the same group. At first, I didn't want to connect it, because once you do, there's no going back. You can't unsee it. You can't pretend everything is the same. But the pattern kept repeating, again and again, until ignoring it wasn't an option anymore. So I decided to test it, not directly, not in a way anyone would notice. I left something small out in the open, something I knew I would recognize instantly if it moved. Then I waited, acted normal, spent time like I always did, talked, laughed, didn't show anything different. And when I got back home later that night, it was gone. Not misplaced, not hidden, gone. And in that moment, everything became clear. Not suddenly, not dramatically, just quietly certain, because this wasn't a coincidence anymore. This was a pattern, something that had been happening right in front of me for longer than I realized. The next few days felt different, not because anything changed around me, but because I started watching more closely, listening more carefully, not looking for proof anymore, but confirmation. And then it happened. One small moment that confirmed everything. We were all sitting together, same group, same setting, nothing unusual, until I noticed it. Something familiar, something that didn't belong to them, something that belonged to me. My eyes stayed on it for a second longer than they should have, trying to make sure I wasn't wrong, trying to convince myself there was another explanation, but there wasn't, because I knew it. I remembered it, and now it was right there, in their hands, being used like it had always been theirs. I didn't say anything right away. I just watched, waited, let the moment sit, because sometimes the truth doesn't need to be exposed loudly. It just needs to be seen clearly. And in that moment, I saw everything. Not just the missing items, but the pattern, the time, the trust I had given without question, and how easily it had been taken advantage of. I looked around at the group, the same people I had never doubted, the same people I had felt safe with. And for the first time, something felt different. Not anger, not shock, just clarity. Because betrayal doesn't always come from strangers. Sometimes it comes from the people you never thought to question. And once you see it, you can't go back to not knowing.